Hi, my name is Jude Abaga, and I am an under 40 CEO.
The African Renaissance. The concept that the African people and nations shall overcome the current challenges confronting the continent and achieve cultural, scientific, and economic renewal is here, with young men and women taking the lead. Some call them the new school heroes. We call them under 40 CEOs.
You spoke earlier about some of your awards, some of your recognitions, MTV, BET, Channel O. But what are these nods? What are these accolades? What are these recognitions? What do they truly mean to you?
At a certain point, early on, they meant a lot. At a certain point, so I've won something around 80 awards in my career.
Wow.
And I'm truly grateful for them. But at the end of the day, validation can be more dangerous than it helps, because it sort of tells you how far you've come, but it doesn't tell you how far yet there is to go. And so if you say, "Oh, I've won 80 awards," I've won more awards than any other rapper, right? I don't know if that's true, but let's say it is true. I think about the fact that the awards that I've never won. I've never won the MTV, International Act, the Euro Awards. I've never won. What about winning the Grammy Award? What about all these awards? So it means nothing once it's been accomplished. Up until then, it's a lamppost, it's a lighthouse for you to walk towards. But when you've accomplished it, then it means nothing. You have to quickly forget it and keep moving forward.
So what would you say is the true state of the Nigerian music industry today? Is this still as profitable, also as it was a few years back?
It's definitely larger. There was more free money back then in terms of people not really exchanging value for cash. Now people want value. People want you to come and do a 1 hour performance. But it's better. I think I don't think it is at any point in the history of African music there's ever been so many stars in one country, all doing well, all running their careers. You think about, just in terms of, if you ask who's the biggest artist in Nigeria today, right? You can't, how do you answer that? Is it Two-Face, who has had this legendary career, still winning awards today? Is it Wizkid, who's red hot? Or is it Davido, who is almost like a nemesis in competition? Or what about Timaya? Or D'banj? Or P Square? Or Flavor? People who are, who's the best rapper? Who's the best singer? Who's the best? You start to see that there's so many. And in fact, when I was talking about the biggest artists, you have to consider M.I Alade and Tiwa Savage, right? So never has there been so much music, so much great music. Who's the guy for the future? Burna Boy, is it Adekunle Gold? Is it the guys in the UK, Malik Berry, Mologo? There's a new group of guys, Odunsi, Tay, all these guys that are coming up. You have the leaders of the new school. You think about the techno. Huge, also could be in the biggest artist conversation. Runtown. You think about Dice Ales. You think about Coker. You think about our industry is so vibrant. It's so huge right now. There's a lot of hard work to be done because there are more artists than there are structures. There are more artists than there are organized studios. People are still not receiving their royalties. People are still not doing split sheets. There's so much that's still not happening that our industry needs to develop so that they can grow. But it's a good time and the future is bright.
This is Under 40 CEOs.
So tell me, Jude, what are those key challenges that you've had to overcome to make the strides you've made so far?
Being an executive is it's a different set of challenges, that you need a specific skill set. And finding competence, I'm learning on the job. I say so to my team. The other day I was sharing with them a lot of the failures I'd had, a lot of the big mistakes I'd made with the team. And I was saying that sometimes you have to go through trial and error to learn. Sometimes you're stubborn about something and you see later that was not the best way to go about it. I think, the press were talking, the expectation was very high. This needs to happen now. Chocolate City needs to compare. And I had to, within the team, sort of balance, the temperature there and say to people, hey, we're like a teenager now. When a child is very young, and goes to the bathroom, and the child comes here and says, "I want to go and pee." If the child is 3 years old, 4 years old, you say, "Wow, that's so good," you know. But when the child is a teenager, you no longer congratulate them for those things. So I had to tell the team, "Hey, you can't compare yourselves to a lot of these labels that are young. You know, they are going to be congratulated. They are going to be hailed for doing things that we've already done. You know, we are now at the point where we're trying to solve adult problems. You know, we're trying to, structure ourselves for the future." And that was also a bit of a challenge. Yeah, I think those are some of the things, it's learning on the job, building competency within myself, and having to be ahead of the team. There are always low moments, where things aren't going well. And I found that sometimes when you share the challenge, even with the team, sometimes when artist comes to me and there's an issue that's frustrating, and I just say, "Hey, this is frustrating me too. It's bringing my energy down." A lot of times that person will, even have the resources to help you. So yeah, I think those are a few of the challenges.
Okay, so you talked about failures
Yeah.
as a leader. Tell me about your failures as a leader.
I've not been very good over the early part of my leadership with reporting. So I'm very good with letting people know what to do. But in terms of clear communication of, okay, now I see what you've done and this is how I want you to improve. Early on, it would come out more as frustration. And I'm learning now that teams and people, when people are on your team, they need clear instruction. They need clear information. Hey, this is what you want me to do. This is how you want me to do it. Or even if you don't go that far, if you allow them do it, when they have done it and they come back to you, they need a structure within which you're going to be able to say to them, "Hey, this is how I'd like you to adapt," or whatever. And maybe I wasn't always very clear with that. I'm a little bit of a recluse. So I stay by myself. I'm at home a lot. And I think that I'm not as good with the music business requires people to keep in touch all the time. I'm not as good with that. And so that's also something that I'm trying to work on, to say, hey, I need to remember that once a week I need to check in with, all the heads of the labels. I need to check in with, all the heads of my teams, I can be focused on one thing and forget to do that, and these are things that I need to grow and improve with.
All right. So tell me about your leadership style.
Okay. It's a good question. I would like to think I'm a good listener. There was a year, I guess I'd file this under my failures also, where I told my team, "I don't want you to waste my time when you're talking to me. Just give me the information quickly." So they would start talking. I'd be like, no, just get to the end of what you're saying. I don't have time. And I think now I've learned that sometimes when people are talking to you, they don't have the words to express what they're trying to say, really. And so it's important that you stop and listen. So I think I'd like to think I'm a good listener. I'd like to think that I'm inspirational, that I can inspire people, to, and I think that I'm very idea driven. I'm very about the lowest cost possible, saving cost, and making sure that we're able to generate profit through innovation, and not, now is the world of, paid acquisition, where I'll pay for every customer I get. I'll go to radio and pay everybody so that they play my song. I'm more about innovating. Let's do something creative. Let's do something that's going to catch the attention of people and spend money on that instead.
How important is delegation to you?
Oh, delegation is everything. You can get nothing done without delegating. Or you will get a few things done, but comparative advantage will show you very quickly that the more you delegate. I think for people that are in the music business, and came through as artists, one of the challenges or transitions that we struggle with is that at a certain stage, you're a doer. You're the person in charge. You're the person on stage. You're the person, performing. You're the person doing this. And at a certain point, as a CEO, you need to start to become a manager, where somebody else is going to be the doer, and your job is to give them clear instruction, to get clear feedback, to provide the structure for them to operate in. So I think I learned that pretty quickly, and that today better at delegating. I always joke with my leadership team that my job, if they do their jobs well, my job will be to play golf. But and I want everyone to be responsible for what they're doing.
All right. Talking about leaders and followers, you've got a following in the millions on social media.
Yeah.
Sort of like, your following is more, the population is more than some countries. So you must feel like the president of your own little nation. But tell me, how have you remained grounded? Does this not get to you that so many people wake up every day waiting for Jude, or is it M.I, to say something that they would respond to and engage with on a daily? How does this make you feel, and how have you remained grounded?
To have a team around you that will be able to warn you when things are going wrong. And how can you be humble? Keep people around you that have been with you from day one. Whether they're good people or bad people, they will keep you humble. If they're bad people and they're stressing you and disturbing you, it will still humble you. But if they're good people and they tell you the truth, and they tell you when you're, Aldo very well. Someone like Aldo has seen me since I was a kid, and he will tell me, you're going the wrong way, or this is not correct, or give me advice. And that is invaluable. There's no price that you can pay for having a core of people around you that have always been with you.
This is Under 40 CEOs.
You talked about values. And I'll come back to humility later. But what values are important to you and then your firm?
So values at Chocolate City are very important. I think one of the biggest values is about leaving a legacy. I think Aldo has done so at his tenure as CEO. He was there for 10 years and passed it over to me, and that's important to me. We also want to push people towards excellence, to make sure that there's something called line of sight that we have in our conversation, in our company, where we say everyone should have a line of sight to what they're doing and how it impacts the company, between what they're doing and how it impacts the company. And we want everybody to be responsible for some project that they're handling. Responsibility is very, very important, but also the humility to listen, from leadership down. So it's interesting. Our culture is written around the process of how chocolate is made. It's a process it goes through, grinding, sifting, conching, all these things, and our culture is written around those things. And but we're a very value-driven company, and in everything we do, you'll see that, the ethos of Chocolate City, sort of shines out. We don't want to be popular for anything. We want to be known for doing the right music and having the right structure, being a company that people can look to and say this is a well-run company.
Okay, that's amazing. Now, you mentioned humility earlier, and I told you I'll come back to that. Really quickly, tell me, can a rapper really be humble?
Yeah, of course. Your job is not you, and you'll be way more successful to everyone out there if you know that, in life, you'll be way more successful at life if you know that rap is your job. If you take it, seriously as you would a job, then you'd be way more successful. But then when you get home, your kids don't want you to be, all the things, many things that you are. They need you to be a dad, to be a father, to be a leader of the home. It's not, in music, a lot of times we forget that. We get back home and we're still the person. I'm still M.I, When I go to the club with my friends, I'm still M.I. I still need a security guard. I need barricade around me. There needs to be the clear distinction between the two. And if you are able to find that balance, then I think that's a sweet spot of real success.
Amazing. So tell me, how has travel and interacting with different cultures helped to shape your person?
Oh, it's pivotal. It's key. Being able to travel around the world and see different things. Sometimes it's just inspirational. I was in Cape Verde recently and just, attending the festival and just soaking in, the atmosphere of this small island. It's 150,000 people on the island I was on. And it inspired me so much. Or it's taking classes in Oxford or in Montclair in South Africa, or, being in the States and going to the Tidal offices, the Rock Nation offices, all these experiences, or Reverb Nation, Revolt offices in LA, all these experiences will expand your worldview. It will help you network and be able to meet people that will become invaluable in your journey. So traveling is something everyone should should try to do. And you don't need to wait till you are able to travel out. Even within the country, there are experiences, and maybe every 3 months, take a trip down to Ibadan here, go see, the sites there, or go visit someone, or.
What's the biggest letdown that you've experienced in your career so far?
Wow, biggest letdown in my career so far. I think when my brother left Chocolate City, I didn't know he was going to do that. And we had spoken the day before he left. And the morning of when he left, actually. Wow. And, but I didn't know. I was disappointed because I felt we had something that was impenetrable. And it was the first, time that thing was shattered for the country to see. I think we managed it well. And of course, we're brothers, so our own personal relationship was never really, affected by that. But just in terms of, that special Chalk Boys feel, that trio of, at that time we're four, Bramo was also part of us, but, and knowing that it would never be the same from that moment on, and that's.
This is Under 40 CEOs.
Jude Abaga's role in the music industry cannot be overstated. He has been instrumental to the launch and growth of many artists, including Wizkid, Viper, Jesse Jaggs, Ruby, Pipe, Tone, Ice Prince, Brymo, Calligraph Jones, Coca, and Dice Alias. He has been described by many Nigerian hip-hop fans as Nigeria's hip-hop missile. How does Jude relax? Who are his mentors? And what are his lifestyle choices? We're about to find out.
Let's move on to lighter stuff. So I have a few quick fire questions for you. What do you love to eat?
Pounded yam, ogbono, goat meat. But it will also help if there's egusi in another bowl just by the side.
Wow.
The egusi needs to be pepper, have a little bit of pepper, spicy. It could be some beef in there. In Benue, they eat with like 5 different soups.
Wow.
So with pounded yam. That's it. That's the height for me.
All right. So how would you describe your style?
Laid back, very chill, comfortable. Yeah.
All right. What are your favorite brands to wear?
Oh, good question. I'm a huge designer sneaker guy, and I love right now. I really like the Gucci sneakers that have been made.
What's your favorite car to drive?
Oh, good question. I have shy to say this. I have a Bentley GT Continental, and it's so comfortable. It's an amazing drive. Engine never gets spoiled. It's a beautiful car.
All right. So, what's your favorite travel destination?
Maybe Cape Town.
Okay.
Cape Town for now, yeah.
What other CEOs do you currently look up to?
Oh, good question. There's so many. The outgoing CEO of Arsenal Football Club, Arsene Wenger. He's someone I deeply admire. Of course, Audi Mekore, who's now the CEO of Chocolate City Group. Hakim Bello Sagi, who's the chairman of the board. I have a few CEO friends, I can always ask questions, of course, I've highlighted you twice now, so I'm not going to bring you up again for this. So any question you ask me, just know I'm not going to mention you because I've already mentioned you 2 times. But it's good to have a group of guys that you can always...
So what's your favorite book of all time?
I don't know if I have a favorite book. I think maybe Outliers will jump to the top of my mind, but there's a book I'm reading now called From Zero to One by Peter Thiel, and it's an amazing book. Amazing book. In terms of a book that I can always come back to, there's a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Dale Carnegie.
Yes, that book is amazing. And also the Bible. So here's the thing about the Bible. Whether you're a Christian or not, I'm a Christian, but whether you're a Christian or not, the Bible is one of the best manuscripts on philosophy, on how to live your life. And you can even approach it sort of as a textbook. You can go on Google and say, Bible verses about this. I'm dealing with sadness or whatever. And then go find the verses and go read the Bible about that. So it's a very useful book. Very, very useful book.
All right. Lastly, I'd like to know, Jude, what makes you happy?
I think sacrifice is the foundation of happiness. When you, you have kids. I don't have kids yet, but most of your life will be about giving to your kids. And in the moment, I'm sure when you're paying those school fees or paying the hospital bill, it doesn't feel good. sometimes I'm sure it's frustrating, but you'll find that as you see what you've sacrificed for them start to take effect in their life, it creates a foundation of just peace and joy. And I may not be the richest, most successful artist, but in terms of the amount of sacrifice and the amount of giving that I've given into people's lives, I think I'm one of the top guys. Things people see, things people don't see. Whether it's advice, whether it's money, whether it's just being there for someone in some way. And I find that I'm mostly happy, most times. And simple things then will make me happy, whether it's watching TV or hanging out with friends. I'm generally a happy person. And so for everyone out there, that to me the key to happiness is to give of yourself, to sacrifice for other people.
All right, thank you for coming on Under 40 CEOs.
Thank you so much. This is a pleasure, honor. I want to say to you that, you're somebody who's consistently, over the time I've known you, you've been, someone that I could be proud to know, because you've always been an inspiration. You've always been a person of character. You've always improved, always gotten better, always been, very humble, very giving of yourself. I remember you, coming backstage to come and give us, an extra tie or, back at time. It wasn't about the money back then, and still isn't. And just being here again after such a long time in your offices and seeing all that's happening. I was here the other day. I didn't even know I was here, But it's a testament to your hard work and all the amazing things that you've done. So
thank you very much. Yeah. He's trying to make me cry.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is Under 40 CEOs.